where we see technologies being able to substitute other technologies in previously distinct industries. And here's an example. We all remember what Skype basically did to the traditional long-distance phone industry, right? So here, Skype entered this business with a fundamentally new way of connecting voice calls over the network, but not necessarily yet with any deliberate or any kind of well-formulated business model. And this is also the point here. Whereas we can see the convergence of technologies as a certain phase, this doesn't necessarily yet guarantee any economic viability. Because this is given in the next stage, the convergence of applications or the convergence of business models. This is where we see suddenly a situation of firms being able to generate revenues in previously unrelated industries. And I think we all remember, again, what iTunes did to the music industry, right? This was, again, technologically maybe not that revolutionary because, I mean, you know, we had MP3 codecs and MP3 players out there for quite a while. But basically what these guys did was to introduce a fundamentally new way of sharing and distributing music. And this was something that, you know, came basically overnight to the established players in the traditional music industry, and which basically kind of competed or started to compete with their established models in previously unexperienced ways. And finally, once this type of competition across industry boundaries starts to take place, you know, then we can ask ourselves, where will this result in? When we suddenly have companies and an increasing amount of companies who actually start to compete across industry boundaries, well, we can ask ourselves the question, will these industry boundaries then prevail? And this is actually then leading us to the last phase, the convergence of industries, where we suddenly see firms from different industry sectors beginning to compete and actually eroding entirely the previously distinct or the previously defined industry boundaries. And here, again, if we think about companies such as Nokia and Microsoft, who, if you look back in time, 15, 20 years, had reasonably little to do with each other, and today are fierce competitors, and actually, moreover, what did this result into? More than competition, right? A very dense collaboration. So basically we can see convergence evolving through these stages and not only being initiated by any deliberate managerial action, but walking us through the stages of knowledge convergence, technological convergence, business model convergence, and finally industry convergence. Now, what does this actually mean then for innovating? What can we learn from this for innovating within our organizations? And here, in the context of our study, I talked to one senior manager of, actually a vice president of a